Welcome to the Purity Pulse podcast, your go-to podcast for the natural health industry and everything Purity Life. I'm Julie.
And I'm Erin.
And today we're going to go through our weekly check-in. We're going to talk about how to be successful in your planning for 2024, some little tips and tricks. Mm-hmm. And we're going to review also what's new to Purity Life.
That's right.
Yes.
It's a new year. Here we are, 2024, brand new year.
Exactly. Hard to believe.
Right?
I know. We were in December and we're just saying, how did we get that here so fast? And now here we go, right?
It just starts flying all of a sudden. I know in those last couple of weeks of December, you just kind of look back and like, oh my goodness, it's the end of a week again.
Right.
Oh.
So are you one of those that do some year resolutions or specific planning or objectives or goals for yourself?
Yes and no. I know, like, I would say I do it in a less official way. I know I've seen, like, you're very good at really giving that a lot of thought and nailing it down. I think I do that a little bit looser. Definitely kind of think through the year, okay, what do I want to do? I mean, you've got the regular stuff. Hey, I want to eat better. I want to be more active. Yeah. I want to feed my kids better, stuff like that, right? Yeah. I want to see my family more. I want to see my parents more. But those are kind of just the unofficial
high
rolling
level
lines, yeah, okay. that I really want to kind of see going through the year. It's a good time to reset that and set goals. For me, they're pretty loose, though. Yeah.
So for your, I would say, high level resolution, do you write them down, or and do you start thinking about that on what you want to loosely focus on at the end of December or January
I think so.
1st?
I would say yes, the end of December, only because it becomes a topic of conversation, right? So I think everybody, as they start approaching the end of the year, start thinking towards, okay, you look back. It's always important to look back. What have we accomplished? What's happened? But then also, okay, what are we doing this year? Yeah. And I think I do find as we get older, I think that we think about that a little bit more. That's what my experience has been, that each year you kind of look a little bit more.
In what aspect, though, you would say?
I think knowing that on a grander scale, if you've got goals for your family or for your work life, for your career, you just, I don't know, I think that they feel more important to take advantage of the time you have. Maybe it's almost time is fleeting, right? Like as you age every year, you just have this greater knowledge of like time is really fleeting and anything could happen at any time. And really, even if, everything goes perfectly, you've only got so much time to live here.
Absolutely.
So you really, and years go faster every year too, right?
That I'm always like blown away every year. Like you just go from month to month and then, and
then all of a sudden that's another year gone.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that makes me stop to think a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. I'm really, I would say, always been. And as far as I can remember, I think I was maybe 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I always had my book at the end of the year. And I had like specific goals, like very specific. And I was always reviewing them and talking about them. And I have boards and I have like cutouts, pictures on my wall. Oh, yeah. I've always been very like.
Oh, see, I thought that was a newer thing for you. I didn't know that you had been doing that your whole life.
My whole life. I remember going through fashion magazine, looking at makeup, looking at what they were wearing. And I was like, oh, I want that outfit. And it was on my wall. And that was like such a focus. Little goals like that. But now I would say that I've transitioned to definitely I have my different buckets. And I don't, to me, it's really my health.
Right.
Longevity is always a big thing. So I assess, where I'm at and what I need to do during the year, the travel I want to do for me. And also definitely my goal with Purity is huge for me, of course, with the team and everything. So, and I write down everything.
Yeah.
I absolutely write down. I have my special book of the year that I buy myself. And then I review that. And on a monthly basis, I basically review and realign on those things because, life change and you might decide to do one thing and then the next month is like, so I'm more flexible. I think that a lot of people would have resolution, but they often fail because they're so strict and they don't review them and they're not allowing themselves that, you could have
the space,
little, drop along the way that you're not aligned that much, but so you don't drop the goal, but you say, okay, I fell off the chair, but I'm going to come back on it and keep going. So the one thing I don't do, and I think we had a session a couple of months ago in Montreal, and we talk about celebration.
Right.
Celebrating your milestone or your achievement. And I think that it's also one thing that we fail in our resolution sometimes, or goal or objective, is we don't put along the way some little celebration.
Yes, celebration points.
It's so important because it just gets you a little bit motivated to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even at the end of the year, again, I don't think a lot of people do that, speaking with people around me, but stopping and take that moment to say, hey, here's all the things I've achieved this year.
Yeah, it's not always about looking ahead. Looking ahead is important, but it's also just as important to look back and say, yes, this is what I've achieved. And, you know, I've been able to be successful and look at that. You need to really focus on that positive as well, right?
Absolutely. And before, you know, getting into our topic today of planning for 2024, I think it's important to to make a hard stop in your personal life, but also on your, you know, career or your business that you own as a store owner, and stop and say, okay, here's what I've done. What do I aim for really, and celebrate what you achieved. So
and I think almost do that on a grander scale too, right? Like that's such a social thing for all of the people that you're connected with, for your colleagues, like you were just kind of bringing in for a store, to really take the time and make sure that the whole group of employees and whatnot are stopping to recognize those successes and those achievements as well. And then even on a personal level too, right? Within the family, that's important. It's something we miss all the time.
Yes, exactly. So I think on our little check-in on resolution and goals, that I think that's a good start. And I think I would definitely advise, if you're a goal setter or not, just to stop. Make a stop and just review what you've accomplished and celebrate that before, you know, this new year. Because as you said, time flies.
Yeah, take some time.
Yes.
I'm excited about this because with it being this early in the year, it feels really fresh. I'm ready for a restart. I'm ready for a reset.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about how to really plan a successful 2024.
Yes.
So I know you've got some ideas on goals and actions. Let's see.
Yeah, well, we've been doing that at Purity for years.
Yes.
I think we prepare usually a couple of months before the end of the year. We all meet the high management group, the VPs of the company, and we look into, you know, our goals, what we want to achieve in 2024.
Yeah.
So we've been through that process with different, I would say, helpers, guide, and it has been very successful. I mean, we're doing well, and the key in planning is, once you've identified your plan, is to communicate as well. So I'm going to go through what we've typically done, and with some tips and tricks along. But the first thing to start, and I think a lot of people miss that step, and I brought a book for those who are listening here from Simon Sinek, Find Your Why. And it's important. Find your why for yourself, but as a company, as your store, you own a store, a business, you're a broker, it's great to stop and think about why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah. Because everything will comes from there afterwards. Yeah. You cannot get connection. You cannot get your people or even yourself to embrace the plan if people don't really know why. Why are you here?
It gives such purpose too, right? Like, if you don't have that purpose, you don't really have something driving you towards your end goal. And I think that can be so closely tied with values as well. I mean, that's something that we really focus on at Purity as well. These are the values. This is what we live by. This is what kind of governs everything. And I think on a store level as well, purpose and why, but you've got to have those values behind it, and then everything will just kind of good gears going straight towards your goal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because every decision that you make should answer your why, be aligned with that. Yeah. And when your why is so strong, everybody wants to participate. Yes. As an example, for us, we want to provide, natural health products to help people to have a better life. Yeah. Right? So that's our goal. So when everybody is reminded of what you do, because, let's face it, you get through the year, there's challenges, there's bump in the road, and you get exhausted, stressed, there's things happening. Exactly. But it's good as a leader to bring back to your team, say, hey, here's why we do what we do. Because when you think about that, and especially in our industry, it's really a goal that is to our heart, to bring a better health, bring better life to people.
Yeah.
It's really something that we all, embrace.
Yep.
So every year is great to bring back that on top of the table.
Reminder ourselves.
Reminder. We joke often and we say being a chief reminder officer,
right?
A CRO. Be the CRO of your company, of your team, because you constantly need to bring that why the company exists, what's the purpose, and in different ways, because you can communicate it in writing as a group.
Yeah.
On the wall, as we have at Purity, we have values and our why everywhere, so we can be reminded constantly of this.
And it so much needs to become a part of the language as well, right? I think that's something we've learned as well. When it needs to be spoken about so much, and then as from top level down, as leadership starts to speak about this more, then suddenly everybody else is speaking about it, and it just becomes so much more real and tangible.
Yes.
And I think especially at a time when you're thinking through planning for a year, it makes it so much simpler to be able to say, well, does this fit into the why? Because if it doesn't, you're off track. Then it doesn't belong on that list.
And even I would go back a little bit. You evaluate, is our why still our why?
Right.
You need to do that because you need to make sure that you're 100% behind it.
Yeah.
And then when that is checked, then you can go in your planning.
Yes.
Because if you miss that why portion, you're going to go in planning. I call it planning stuff.
Yes.
And nobody is very excited. Yeah. Nobody's really into it. And then you get half results.
Yes.
So let's say we've done our why. We've checked that. Everybody on your leadership group and everybody, your managers and your team, everybody understand and is behind it. So once you've done that, you establish your quarter goal. Like I like to see the quarterly goal. You have your big hairy goal of a year, but then you need to break that down into your quarter.
Right.
And then within your
a little bit more achievable chunks, kind of.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'll tell you why it's so important to do that. So you go your quarter and then you do your monthly. And those monthly, you review them with all your team as well.
Yeah.
All the steps. What's the monthly? What's the quarterly? What's the year?
Yeah.
And those monthly, make sure that in there you have measurable.
Yes.
So you have the measurable, so numbers, but you also have, I would say, the more of the human side of things.
Yes.
Just to balance it out.
Yeah.
And
like the more qualitative measurements of like not necessarily the number, but how are people feeling? How is everybody kind of rolling with those goals?
Exactly. And I'm talking here at the high level because obviously we don't have 3 hours with everybody.
We would like it though.
We would love that. We can do that personally.
We would use it up for sure.
Yes, exactly. So that monthly, make sure that you have celebration. Because again, we talked about that earlier. We don't celebrate. We forget the milestone.
Yeah.
It's so important. And while we have celebrations, sometimes at the end of the month, you might have not reached out the sales that you wanted. Well, evaluate.
Right.
That's why that checkpoint is important.
Right. Be able to pivot.
Be able to pivot. And something life might have thrown you a curveball, right? We've got that a couple of years ago. Just a major one. But it's very important to do that monthly and then realigned. And then you do your end of quarter. Because too many times I've seen companies, stores, personal, that review either on a year or on a quarter.
Yeah.
And if you just review on a quarter, you're already
a
little bit off the road and it's hard to catch up.
Yeah.
And life goes really by fast.
Yeah.
So that's really where, I wanted to emphasize on that. And the communication, even, at Purity is funny because we think, we've sent an email. Everybody should know. Not everybody reads. That's the reality, right? Because we're bombarded.
Yeah.
So you need to find ways to hyper or over communicate.
Yeah.
When you think that you've communicated enough, you still haven't.
Yeah. Say it again. Reiterate it.
Say it again.
Use a different medium.
Yes, use different medium.
Yeah.
And also make sure you ask for what did you get out of it?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, to be able to follow up and say, well, what did you hear?
Exactly.
What are you understanding? Because sometimes we think we're saying one thing, but what's being understood on the other end can be very different, or people can make assumptions about things that we haven't even considered.
Yes. So that's what I like to do also with smaller teams. So for us, as an example, to make it very visual for everybody, well, we have our VP groups. We all, gather. Then we have a meeting with our top level managers, and then we want our managers to have a meeting with their group where they can go through that goal of the year, that plan of the year, and then every month, every quarter, and then
follow
up exactly to make sure that we're still going in the same lane, because we're all bombarded by outside requests that will get you off course.
Well, I think that's the thing, right? In your day to day, I mean, we all know we get pulled into a fire here, a fire there all the time, and that can really suck up so much of our time. And in an age where there's not a whole lot of labor, nobody has a whole lot of time to put into any efforts. It's so important to be able to step back and say, as much as that seemed like a fire in that moment, this is really where we're trying to go. And does this go there?
That's a trap.
Is this going to build to that or not?
Yes.
And sometimes that fire is, you know what?
Yes.
We're going to move on from that because this is the goal and this is not going to move us towards that.
And that's a big trap. That's great that you brought that up, because that's where you get stressed and you feel like you failed because you still have that big plan, that big year goal. And then you feel that you're off track. And on top of being stressed, you're off track, you lose your direction.
Yeah, unfocused.
And if you manage a team, then you're not giving the right direction to your team. So they're lost as well.
Yeah.
So make sure of that. And there's two things that I wanted to bring up too, is being flexible.
Yes.
Because again, that's one thing I see often is people are too rigid with their plan. It always changes.
Yes.
That is one thing. It's always like change is consistent, happens all the time. And if you're too rigid, for us as an example, again, we might distribute a brand, we're doing really well with it, and then, poof, disappears.
Yes.
So we need another plan.
You've got to be able to pivot. You've got to be able to kind of, again, renew based on those same values and goals. But how do we pivot? How do we change this piece of that plan?
Yeah, exactly. And that's how we do that. Well, on your monthly, when you review, are we still on track? Is that still the way to execute our plan? And open discussion with your team.
Yes.
Because they know what's going on.
Yes.
And you need to hear from them, their opinion, to make sure that you still have the best plan out there.
Yeah.
And what we do when we actually, finish here's our plan for the year. We know our why, our plan of the year. Here's our quarterly, here's our monthly. Then we define a theme of the year.
Right.
A word of the year. Yes. Sorry, my French accent.
Just wanted to make sure that was clear.
I always try every year. I think that word I have to give up. It's never going to happen.
No.
But the word of the year.
Right.
And I love that because it just gets people we use it a lot, every year. So for us at Purity, 2024 is all about elevating excellence. So everybody has that word in mind. And everything we do, again, is, am I elevating excellence? Am I doing better? Am I trying to take what we do that is good to great to even better?
Well, I mean, it's all about buy-in too, right? I mean, we can put together this plan, but I mean, from a marketing perspective, you've got to build the story around it.
Yes.
And that's where having that theme or having that specific word and that kind of thing, like you can really build the story around it. And for a lot of people, that's where you're going to get the buy-in. Yes. There are some people that really are just going to work on, numbers, I've got things to do, but so many of us really need to have that purpose and speak to that. And when you've got a theme, it's just so much easier for everybody to kind of get aligned and jump on board.
Yeah, because alignment, that's what will make you successful at the end, and that flexibility as we spoke,
It's that classic visual of the rowboat, right? If everybody is rowing the same way, you're going to get there. But if you've got a handful of people that aren't really sure, well, I thought I was going there and you're going there, you're stagnant. You're stuck in the water. That alignment is really, if you can get everybody on one page with one goal, that's where you see the success. That's where you see that movement. That's where that needle starts just jumping off the board.
I have chills. chills because I get so driven and excited because everybody, as you said, work and is excited to work in it. It's not, oh God,
yes,
getting up today and I need to do something.
Yeah.
No, because my why is to make sure that there's help products in those stores to make sure that we
improving the lives of Canadians.
Exactly. That's exactly what we do.
Well, and it's interesting that you just said that you have chills, because I know that this is something you may or may not know this about Julie, but galvanizing is a big thing for Julie. So for Julie to be able to kind of bring a group together with one common goal and inspire and cheerlead, like that's your sweet spot right there. So I'm not surprised that you're getting chills, because this is where you want to live. This is your spot.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm definitely supported on all that with my amazing team that helped me to execute. And so Erin with her team and the other managers are fantastic to execute those, because I like to lit the fire and then the team is helping to achieve everything. But you need to identify those people, right?
Yes.
You have your people that brings the fire up and others that are very good at organizing and making sure that we get, the plan to
cross the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about us at Purity Life? Because I know that we have plans, and I know you are organizing a lot of those. So
absolutely,
let's share
plans.
a bit.
It's interesting for me a little bit that when we talk about resolutions and we talk about planning, because often I feel like in marketing, especially in distribution marketing, we have to work so far ahead of the game. So, I mean, as a retailer, obviously we're thinking, okay, I've got to place this order and have this stuff in store before the consumer wants it. As a distributor, we're thinking, okay, I need to have the product and be ready to sell it before so that the retailer can start thinking about it and getting it. Like, we're talking 4-6 months, even longer ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So
that's what doesn't help us to be living in the moment. That doesn't happen for us. Or next year.
My team and I, we're living like 6 months ahead. So it's we get to holidays and everybody's like, oh my goodness, it's the holidays. We've been living in the
CHFA.
I've been putting holiday holly and snow on marketing pieces for the last 3 months, guys.
That's why the Christmas music was playing very early.
Yeah. Yes. So I mean, I'm always a big fan of really taking the time to sit back, look at the whole calendar of the year. How are all these pieces going to fit in the blanks? And I think that's important for everybody. That's going to be important for retailers as well, because unless you can look at the whole picture, you're going to run into, Valentine's Day is coming up. Like, we need some stuff. We need to put some stuff on the shelves. How are we going to talk about this? And suddenly you're off track. That becomes one of those fires that takes you away from the ultimate goal of whatever you're doing.
Yes.
If you can take a look at this from a full year perspective, you can very, very easily see from the top down, this one's a priority for me. This is one that we really want to blow into the water.
It's not an afterthought.
Yeah, like you really have to give that time.
Yes.
And especially when, it really all comes down to, what can I move off the shelf? Right? So the thoughts around that become, okay, well, what new products are going to be coming down the line? What support materials are going to be coming down the line? How much of this do we need? What happened last year? Did this work? Did this not work?
Yeah.
So it's really so important to be able to look at the full year and decide where you want to spend your time and where you want to spend your resources.
That's so important you mentioned that, because I'm seeing in my head right now, make sure you have your calendar and your review what you want to invest in.
Yes.
Because even for us, when we look at the year calendar, there's like, I would say blocks of, okay, CHFA, it's like non-negotiable. We want to be there. Then in a store, you have all the celebrations.
Yeah.
Which one are you going to really focus on?
Yeah.
And that you will invest fully. Too many times I see, okay, it's holidays. We need gift bags or give a box, but retailers think about it like in end of October. Yeah. That should be planned in July, honestly, because you want to be well prepared and ask the brand to support you, ask the brokers, the reps out there to help you to make it an event. Yeah. So you have to decide at the beginning, like at the end of the year, when you review the full year, as you mentioned, all the celebration, everything that makes sense for your store.
And that's such a key part of it too, right? Like you said, often retailers are looking for those gift bags for the holidays. That's great for most retailers, but you might be that one retailer that's not the hit. That's not the big thing at that point. Maybe you're in a different cultural clientele, okay. Geographic, like there's all sorts of things. So all of that needs to come into mind. And we want to really be a big piece of that as well. We want to make sure that you're able to come to us and say, okay, Purity, what am I focusing on right now? What are we doing? So I'm just going to do a quick run through what Purity does have on the go so that our retailers can kind of be prepared as well. And we'll provide a list of all of our dates and timelines and whatnot as well. We'll have that linked on this episode so you can grab it there too. It's just starting from the beginning of the year, we have most of our retailers probably at this point are familiar with our 3-day sales. Yes. So we have 3-day sales a year. The first one's in February. And what we're really doing with those 3-day sales, we want to grab less deals, but larger deals. So we can have big sales in stores at a time when often we're seeing a little bit of a lull.
Yes.
So that's really the goal there, is so that when we're all seeing this lull, okay, how can I really draw those people in or grab those few really good deals?
Yes. So, and although there's Valentine's Day in February, it's a dip because you have, most of the time you will have December, and January is a big month because you have people are returning to their good habits.
Resolution.
Resolution. Cold is happening a lot. And then February is kind of take that little dip. And a lot of people go away as well, like starting in March. So provided with those sales, then you can create an event in your store.
Yeah. So we do that very early February. Our 3-day sale this year is February 6 to 8. Okay. Another thing to be thinking about pretty much right after that is Sun and Bug. That comes up really early as well, right? We're actually, our Sun and Bug has already been, we've been promoting it and talking about it already for some time. You just have a little bit longer. You've got until February 19 to get your pre-book in. So definitely get your pre-book in, and that'll be available to start shipping already in April. Yeah,
and to add to that, the Sun and Bug period, actually, it's sun is protection. We won't go too deep there, but it's all year long now. Yes. Honestly, you need it on your shelf all the time. Yeah. But also you need to be prepared and make it big in your store. That's a big thing. Don't wait till it's summertime. That's the pre-book. But I mean, you need to make it seen. Again, I said March. People travel. Yes. There's a lot of people traveling. It's nothing new for anybody, but it's kind of quiet in the store. I haven't seen a lot of stores that promotes that. So. And we're at a time now where so many more, even just like the general consumers are really starting to think about, okay, well, what about my sun care? Is it natural? What's it doing to my skin? All of that. So that's important to be thinking about right after that. We obviously have the CHFA show in April, which is a big event, I think, for everybody across industry. Yes. Heads up on that one. It's Thursday, Friday in the West this year. So it's April 4 and 5. And we've always got great deals, a 2-week period of great deals around there. Yet we talk about new trends, products. So great time to start picking up on stuff. Back to school is always a big one. Again, sometimes we don't think about this until we're into August. It's important that you're thinking about this and really pre-booking and seeing what's available, and that'll all be available for May. Yes. If not earlier for some retailers, and then that'll all be shipping early mid-July. Perfect. We have another 3-day sale into July. Obviously, we see that kind of dip when people are all on vacation. Barbecue time. Yep. So we've got a quick 3-day sale in beginning of July. And then we're already into holiday again. So then now we need to think about seasonal items and pre-booking that. We do all that within August and then start shipping that late October, early November. Yep. Another CHFA show. Toronto CHFA show in September 21 and 22. So you've got a big period of promotion around that as well that you'll be able to kind of flip into some deals into your store. And again, innovation. Yeah, innovation is big. And in September show, a lot of brands are waiting for that show to bring that. And for us, we'll have been traveling quite a bit. So we'll be able to bring you even more insights again on trends, what to carry. Yeah. And again, that's a good time even at that. I mean, we're so far back now, but that's a good time to really start looking at what your 2025 plans are. So what are the new products? Where do I want to focus? What are the trends? So that's look at us. We're talking about 2025 already. And then we kind of cap that off with our last 3-day sale, which is our pre-Cyber Monday sale. It's becoming so big now. Yeah. It's definitely a thing. I think the online it's huge, right? It's definitely grown. Yes. So our pre-Cyber Monday sale, it's
people probably find it a bit wonky because we run it early November. But again, the idea as a distributor, we want to make sure that we've got the content for you to be able to stock up on your shelves and then be able to hand to the consumers when Cyber Monday actually comes out, which is very early December.
To be ready.
Yeah. And then don't forget to mark calendars for our 40th anniversary tabletops.
Oh, this is going to be amazing.
It's a big year for us, 40 years. So we've got, as probably most have already heard, we're doing tabletops and everybody's invited. So our first one is actually going to be in Vancouver on February 6th. So that's coming up. That's just just a little bit more than a month away.
Yes.
And then we've got it in Laval in Quebec, May 8. Calgary, June 5, and then Acton to kind of top it off. Our big finale will be November 6. So lots of events and lots of planning to do around some cool promotions this year.
Will be some music and lots of fun. So make sure to participate. We're looking forward to see all of you. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, so hopefully that those tools and kind of that content can really help everybody plan their 2024 for some major success.
So now let's get into what's new to Purity Life. What do you have for us today?
So new to Purity Life is our Sun and Bug Guide. Yes. So we've got this online. People can get at it on our customer link website. You can click right into it. But we've got a whole guide here to show everybody some of our up-and-coming sun SKUs, which we're pretty excited about.
Yes, very colorful and fun for those who are listening instead
really
of watching us.
This. Yeah, so it's a whole guide online. You can use it on mobile or within your PC, whatever your laptop. But it really just goes through some images and details on all of the sun. So people can get their stuff ready into your free books before February 19. And one of the newest things that we have is the Sunly line from Attitude. So if you are looking at this online, you'll see the new packaging for Sunly. They're really jumping on, you've seen the new Attitude Oceanly stuff that's in the cardboard packaging.
Yes.
So they have their makeup line and whatnot, a bunch of face care stuff. So they've taken that idea and they've applied it to their Sunly sunscreen as well.
Yeah,
so
I love the color.
They have a whole stick line, and the whole stick line is plastic free. And the whole line obviously is non-nano zinc based.
Yes.
Really nice. It's not very greasy, so it's
very
nice and
light
smooth.
texture. Yeah, texture. Yeah, very easy to apply, and the colors are fantastic. So when you do a display with that, I can just
the colors are just going to
stand out. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Well done.
100% biodegradable, vegan, hits all the right check boxes.
Awesome.
So that's what's new. Check it out.
Don't forget to like and subscribe, and send your feedback to marketing@puritylife.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at PurityLifeLProductsLP.
Or me at Erin G. Macklin.
Or JD_girlpower. And next week, join us because we'll have a special guest, Julie Daniluk. She's a nutritionist, a best-selling author, and also a eating psychology coach.
Yes, that's right.
Looking forward to it.